why your brain sabotages your habits and how to rewire it. You've probably tried to build a new habit at least once. Maybe you wanted to wake up earlier, work out more, eat better, or stop scrolling your phone at night. You started strong for a few days, maybe even a week, and then nothing. You slipped right back into the same patterns as before. And the worst part? You blamed yourself. You called yourself lazy, undisciplined, weak. But here's the truth. It wasn't your fault. Your brain was literally working against you. And today we're going to explain exactly why that happens and what science says you can do about it. To understand why habits fail, we first need to understand how the brain actually creates them. Back in the 1990s, researchers at MIT ran an experiment with rats in a maze. At first, the rats' brains were extremely active, scanning the environment, making decisions, figuring out where to go. But after running the same maze dozens of times, something interesting happened. Brain activity dropped dramatically. The task that once required full attention became almost completely automatic. This is what scientists call a habit loop, and it has three parts. First, the cue, a trigger that tells your brain to activate a certain behavior. Second, the routine, the behavior itself. And third, the reward, the feeling or result that makes your brain want to repeat it. Once a habit is formed, it moves from the prefrontal cortex, the rational thinking part of your brain, into the basal ganglia. This is your brain's habit center. It's built for automation. And here's the important part. Once something lives in the basal ganglia, your conscious mind has very little control over it. That's why habits feel almost involuntary. That's why they're so hard to break. So if habits are that powerful, why is it so hard to build new ones? The answer comes down to one word: efficiency. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's total energy. Even though it's only 2% of your body weight, that's a massive cost. So your brain is constantly looking for ways to save energy. Old habits are energy efficient. They're already wired in. New habits require building entirely new neural pathways, and that takes time, effort, and repetition. There's also the role of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. Most people think dopamine gets released when you feel pleasure, but research shows it actually fires in anticipation of a reward before you even get it. This means your brain has already built a strong dopamine response to your old habits. Checking social media, eating sugar, hitting snooze. Those behaviors deliver a fast, reliable hit. A new habit? No dopamine response yet. No reward signal. To your brain, the new habit feels pointless, and the old one feels irresistible. Most people try to solve this with willpower, and this is exactly where things go wrong. Willpower is not a personality trait. It's a cognitive resource, and like any resource, it runs out. In a famous study by psychologist Roy Baumeister, participants who had to resist eating freshly baked cookies gave up much faster on a difficult puzzle afterward. Resisting the cookies drained their mental energy. This is called ego depletion. Every single act of self-control draws from the same mental reserve, and by the end of a long, stressful day, that reserve is nearly empty. This is why people break their diets at dinner, not at breakfast. Why we make poor decisions late at night. Why habits collapse under stress. If your strategy for building habits depends on willpower alone, you will fail, not because you're weak, but because you're fighting your own biology. So what actually works? Science points to 4 strategies that change everything. The first one is environment design. Your environment is more powerful than your intentions. A 2012 study found that people who successfully maintained healthy habits didn't rely on willpower. They engineered their surroundings to make good choices automatic. Put your running shoes next to your bed. Remove junk food from your kitchen. Turn off notifications. Make the right behavior the path of least resistance. The second strategy is habit stacking. Instead of trying to build a new routine from scratch, you attach it to something your brain already does automatically. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 5 minutes. The existing habit becomes the trigger for the new one. Your brain already has the cue wired in. You're just adding the new behavior on top. The third strategy is making the reward immediate. Remember, dopamine fires in anticipation, so you need to create an immediate reward signal for your new habit. Track your progress visually. Tell someone about your goal. Celebrate small wins, even if it feels silly. Pair the habit with something enjoyable. The sooner your brain connects the new behavior with a positive feeling, the faster it gets locked in. And the fourth strategy is the 2-minute rule. One of the most effective techniques in behavioral science is reducing the activation cost of a habit to almost zero. Don't try to work out for an hour. Just put on your workout clothes. Don't try to read 30 pages. Just open the book. Lower the barrier so much that starting becomes effortless. Because once you start, momentum takes over. Here's the bottom line. Your brain is not broken. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Conserve energy, seek rewards, and automate behavior. The reason your habits fail isn't a character flaw. It's a strategy flaw. Stop fighting your biology. Start working with it. Design your environment. Stack your habits. Reward your progress. And start smaller than you think you need to. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself, is real. But it doesn't happen through motivation. It happens through repetition, strategy, and patience. If this gave you a new way of thinking about habits, subscribe to the Biohack Code. We go deep into the science of how to actually optimize your mind and body. We'll see you in the next one.